Welcome to Behind the Crime, where we delve into real-life crime stories and uncover the truth behind the headlines. If you're new to my channel, kindly hit on the subscribe button so you never miss an update on cases like this.
It was a warm, sunny day on March 21, 1998, when Amy Lynn Bradley, a 23-year-old woman from Chesterfield, Virginia, boarded the luxury cruise ship Rhapsody of the Seas along with her family for a week-long vacation. The ship, which was embarking on a Caribbean cruise, was meant to be a break from the stress of everyday life. Little did anyone know, this vacation would turn into an international mystery that would forever haunt Amy's family. Amy, a bubbly, intelligent woman, had been looking forward to the trip for months. Her family, including her parents, brother, and his girlfriend, were all excited to explore the beautiful islands of the Caribbean together. They were scheduled to visit several exotic locations, including the islands of Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire. Amy, with her striking features and confident personality, quickly made an impression on everyone she met during the trip. She had a natural charm that made her well-liked by both her fellow passengers and the crew of the Rhapsody of the Seas. The morning of March 24th began like any other on board. Amy had spent some time in the ship's gym, working out as part of her daily routine. She was in good physical condition, always focused on her health and well-being. Afterward, she enjoyed a leisurely breakfast with her family before they spent the day lounging by the pool. But by the evening of March 24th, Amy was nowhere to be found. The events leading up to Amy's disappearance were disturbingly uneventful. The last time her family saw her was around 5:30 a.m. on the morning of March 24th. She had spent the evening in the ship's nightclub, dancing and enjoying herself with other passengers. When she returned to her room, she spoke briefly with her brother, Brad, and then went to bed. The family would later report that Amy had no reason to leave the ship or engage in any risky behavior that would explain her sudden disappearance. But the morning of March 24th was different. Amy's parents woke up and found her bed empty. At first, they assumed she had gotten up early to go for a walk or enjoy a workout in the gym. However, as the morning passed, it became clear that something was wrong. Amy had not left a note or any indication of where she had gone. Her belongings were still in her cabin, including her passport and wallet. This unusual behavior immediately raised concerns, and her family began searching the ship. They went to the ship's crew members, asking for help. The crew started looking into Amy's disappearance and conducted a thorough search of the ship, but they found nothing. They checked the ship's CCTV cameras, but there was no footage showing Amy leaving her cabin. At that point, they made the decision to alert the ship's captain, and a full investigation was launched. A full-scale search for Amy Bradley began as soon as her disappearance was noticed. The ship's staff scoured the vessel from top to bottom, looking for any trace of the missing woman. They also alerted local authorities in the Caribbean and began combing the nearby waters, fearing she had fallen overboard. However, despite their best efforts, the investigation came up empty. There were no signs of Amy on the ship, and no one had witnessed her leaving the vessel. The crew was baffled. The Rhapsody of the Seas was a modern ship, equipped with cameras, security systems, and an emergency response team. How could a young woman simply vanish without a trace? Several theories began to emerge, but none could explain her disappearance. The most likely scenario, according to the initial investigators, was that Amy had somehow fallen overboard. A search of the water surrounding the ship was conducted, but it yielded no results. No body, no clothing, no signs of a struggle. The only evidence was the strange absence of Amy herself. Despite the lack of physical evidence, there were a few witnesses who claimed to have seen Amy shortly before her disappearance. One of the ship's crew members, a man named George Smith, reported seeing Amy on the night of March 23rd, shortly before she went to bed. He claimed to have seen her talking to a group of men in the ship's nightclub, laughing and enjoying herself. Another passenger, a woman who was in the ship's lounge at the same time, reported seeing Amy dancing with a man in a white shirt. There was also a witness who claimed to have seen a man walking near Amy's cabin late at night on March 24th. This individual reported seeing a man entering the hallway near her room around 4:30 a.m., shortly before Amy was last seen. The description of the man did not match anyone from the Bradley family, and investigators were unable to identify him. However, the fact that multiple passengers had seen Amy in various parts of the ship added to the confusion and raised suspicions. As the investigation into Amy's disappearance continued, it became increasingly clear that the possibility of foul play couldn't be ruled out. A report released by the ship's crew revealed that the night before her disappearance, Amy had received several mysterious phone calls to her cabin. The calls were from a number that could not be traced. At this point, investigators began focusing on the idea that someone on the ship may have been involved in Amy's disappearance. While the possibility of a fall overboard could not be completely ruled out, the mystery of the phone calls and the witness reports of suspicious individuals near Amy's cabin led authorities to believe that something more sinister may have occurred. One of the most chilling theories involved the possibility that Amy had been abducted by someone on board the ship. Some speculated that she had been targeted by a man or group of men who lured her away from the safety of her family and friends. The fact that she had no signs of a struggle in her cabin and her personal items were left behind raised further questions. If she had willingly left the ship or gone overboard, why would she have left behind her belongings? As days turned into weeks, the search for Amy Bradley continued, but there was no sign of her. Her family, devastated by her disappearance, returned to Virginia, unable to shake the feeling that their daughter was still out there somewhere. The case quickly gained national attention, with news outlets reporting on the mysterious disappearance and the lack of answers. Then, in 1999, a breakthrough occurred that sent shockwaves through the investigation. Amy's family received an unexpected call from a woman who claimed to have seen Amy in the Caribbean. The woman, who identified herself as Stephanie, a name which would later prove to be false, told Amy's family that she had seen Amy being held captive in a house on the island of Curaçao. She described a young woman who resembled Amy, locked inside a building, being held against her will. The woman described the setting as a dilapidated house, where the woman she saw appeared disoriented and frightened. This led to a new line of investigation. Could Amy have been kidnapped and taken to another island? A few months later, another lead emerged when a U.S. tourist claimed to have seen a woman matching Amy's description on a beach in the Caribbean. The woman was with a man who was allegedly trying to force her into a vehicle. According to the witness, the man appeared to be threatening the woman. As the years passed, the theory of human trafficking gained traction. Amy's case shared eerie similarities with other cases of young women being abducted and trafficked in the Caribbean. The fact that she had been last seen at a nightclub, along with the suspicious men she had interacted with, suggested that she could have been targeted by human traffickers. Reports of human trafficking in the region had increased, and several organizations were working to raise awareness about the growing issue. Some experts speculated that Amy may have been sold into the underground sex trade or forced to work as a slave for criminal syndicates. Her sudden disappearance, combined with the strange reports and unverified sightings, pointed to a darker and more sinister conclusion. Amy Bradley was no longer the young woman on vacation, she was a victim of a global crime syndicate. Despite all the theories, the truth about what happened to Amy Lynn Bradley remains a mystery to this day. No physical evidence, no body, and no suspects have ever been conclusively linked to her disappearance. Amy's family continues to search for answers, desperately hoping for some closure. Every year, on the anniversary of her disappearance, they hold vigils, hoping that one day they will learn the truth. In the years since Amy's disappearance, her story has become a symbol of the dangers that can lurk even in seemingly safe environments. The case has prompted international discussions about cruise ship safety, the vulnerability of passengers, and the need for better protection against human trafficking. It has raised questions about the role of cruise lines in ensuring the safety of their passengers, and whether or not they do enough to investigate disappearances or suspicious activities on board. Amy's case also remains a painful reminder of how quickly life can change. One moment, she was enjoying her vacation, laughing with family, and dancing in a nightclub. The next, she was gone, swallowed by an ocean of uncertainty and terror. While Amy Lynn Bradley's fate is still uncertain, her story has left an indelible mark on her family, the cruise industry, and the world at large. Every year, her case serves as a chilling reminder of the unpredictable dangers that can lurk in even the most idyllic of settings. As the years pass, the search for Amy continues, driven by a family's love and a longing for answers that may never come.